Well, hi, Paul.
Hey,
Thank you for having
of
me.
course.
I
Thank you.
think I'm the first one for 2025.
And the most random one, too. Thank you for just jumping right in as soon
I
as I got off a plane.
feel like it was meant to
I
be.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so my name is Bardia Armeni.
All
So for the North American viewers, it's Bardia.
right. Bardia.
Because I know you guys like to pronounce your every letter.
You know.
But I'm Australian. So speaking of ethnicities, but I'm actually Persian. So my background is Persian. So I was born in Iran.
Okay.
And then we left Iran and I lived in Switzerland, in
Oh.
Geneva, Switzerland, for a couple of years. And then we migrated to Australia, specifically Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm from Melbourne.
Yeah, no.
But I live in Sydney for the last 9 years.
All right.
And here we are in Seoul, South Korea, which is just wild.
Right.
Even though we were both in Japan,
Yeah.
but we couldn't tee anything up in Japan, and we both happened to be
Coming
in
to the
Seoul.
place.
So
It's
anyway,
meant to be. Meant to be.
to be.
So I will say for maybe some people who aren't familiar, Persian. When
Yes.
people hear Persian and then they don't know that means born in Iran.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
people kind of say, why do you say you're Persian and not Iranian, for example? And I always like to say, well, it's like, well, why do people from the UK say they're British? You know, they don't say they're United Kingdom. They say that they're British. So
Right.
I think Persian is one of those things where it identifies like like a race or a culture, really.
Fair.
You think of like the Persian Empire, you think of Persian food. Funny enough, the language is Farsi.
Right.
So again, another layer that is beyond anything I can explain. But yeah, I think a lot of people today, when they hear the word Iran, they think terrorism, they think
Like religious
craziness,
oppression.
they think religious oppression, they think all of that. But I think it's one of those things where, like, if you actually go, you would be so surprised at how modern and Western and how educated they are. I think it's important to know that in the Middle East, obviously there's a lot of tension and there's a lot of things happening, especially now. But if you sort of look at some of the countries in the region, so one would be, say, like everyone knows Dubai and all of that, the UAE, and then they know Turkey. But in the Middle East, there's only three countries that aren't Arab. So one is Israel, one is Turkey, and one is Iran. So we all speak our own language.
Yeah.
And then the rest are all Arab. So we're not Arab. We're actually our own race. We don't speak Arabic. We have nothing in common with the Arabs, unless it's religious-wise.
Right.
Our food is different. Our music is different. Everything is quite different. But I guess being in the neighborhood, there are some similarities in terms of the way we look.
Yeah.
We have redheads. We have blue-eyed people. We have all different types. We have almost black people, like from the south, because I would say during the Persian Empire, there would have been some migration from Africa at some point.
Right.
So we're very different, but we're also hard to pick. Only a Persian person would probably know what a Persian person looks like or how they would sound, especially if they're a fresh, what we would say, off the boat.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I often get mistaken for Spanish, Italian, Greek. So then when they find out, they're like, where are you from? I will always say I'm Australian because I grew up in Australia, sound Australian, like I'm everything Australian. But then they kind of look at me like, no, really, where are you from?
Yeah.
And then I'll say I'm Persian. And then there's this whole weird look. So yeah, I think that was a bit challenging as a child.
I can imagine.
But now I like embrace it. I feel like it's like a draw card. It's like,
honestly.
people are like, all right, hello.
And there's something really cool about being able to identify a culture that's not a border. I think that's what I love about like my Persian friends. And I was like, aren't you Iranian? And they were like, no.
Oh,
Like,
you've got quite a few?
yeah, so back home, there was a lot of Persian people. Persian people, Korean people. It was a very diverse area that I grew up in. But yeah, I found that to be such an interesting distinction where Americans, like, it's our country or it's our state, or, you know, French people, it's like France, but it's more of an idea than like a border.
I think it's because we're conditioned to kind of box everything. It's like,
Yeah.
if you're French, you must wear a beret, you must eat croissants and snails,
Right.
and you must sound really arrogant,
Yes.
right?
Just be arrogant.
You know, or be arrogant. So yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
And then going back to being Australian, because you sound very much like you have a kangaroo just waiting outside for you.
Yeah, well, literally, yeah. I mean, I think that's the beauty of it is like, you don't expect it because immediately, like, if you saw me, you wouldn't think I was Australian. What do you think of as Australian? Blonde, blue, probably Chris Hemsworth, you know,
Right.
you know, you might think of certain things, but you wouldn't think me.
Right.
I'm not the poster card for come down
Yeah,
under,
right.
you know, it's just, yeah. But I also love that because I think it also lets people go, You're not a country that's full of white people. Like, you're actually very multicultural.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why the word ethnic is very different from Australia than maybe in the US.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I don't talk about enough on the podcast, even though it's called accidentally ethnic. But that word, like we were talking about earlier, in America, it meant anything other than white. So ethnic food could be like soul food, or it could be Persian food or Indian food. That was different in Australia for you?
Yeah, very different, because we don't have... It's weird. We have a indigenous population who are people of color.
Yes.
But it's dealt with very differently than in the US. I think in the US, you know, the African American population is it's far greater. It's embraced. I think it's there's been a movement, like, you know, it's quite big.
Embraced is a word.
I mean, embraced, challenged,
right? Acknowledged.
Excuse my naivety on that matter. You know, but in Australia, ethnic really means it's to do with anyone that was typically who came on a boat originally. Now, I came on an aeroplane, but it was very much targeted towards Greek and Italians. You know, so we have a term. It's called a WOG, W-O-G, which means that you're ethnic. It was a term for identifying someone as being ethnic. It was like, oh, you're a WOG. Oh, yeah, I'm a WOG. Like, you know, the WOGs, and it's used to be quite offensive, but today it's almost embraced in a very positive way, and people who are ethnic will identify themselves. Yeah, I'm a WOG. You know, well, you know, the WOGs, they're like this, and it's a hard thing to explain, but basically in Australia, it's to identify anyone who isn't the British white race. So you and I would definitely be considered ethnic.
Okay.
But we like to define our ethnicities in Australia. Okay. So it's not like you're just ethnic. It's like, but where?
Okay. Is it like Americans where you're like Italian American or like African American or Jamaican American? Like
or typically, because America is a much older country. Like, you know, you're probably, I don't know what generation.
A first generation.
Oh, you're a first.
I was gonna say, I think our country's about the same age.
Really?
1700s.
Yeah, we're like late 1700s.
I mean, we're right there. 1776.
Are you? I think. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But still, to your point,
But you have like 250 million of you, and we're only like 30 million. Most people would be either first generation or second generation Australians. So if you're first, which is like me, chances are you weren't even born in Australia, right? Yeah. But you've lived your whole life there. So we kind of typically always will say, but where are you from? Or what's your background? Yeah. So it's like...
True.
So I think like when you have more people, it's just... I think it's not as taboo.
Fair, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas when I was growing up in the late 80s, not to give up my age away, someone that looked like me or had my name, for example, it was like it was not common. Today, it would be fine.
Right.
Because of technology and there's more people and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But back then, like, I didn't like my name. I didn't want to be associated with any of that because I wasn't called Ben, Peter, Michael, John, Sam.
Right.
I was called Bardio, which was really weird.
Yeah.
But I think the saving grace is that when I looked around in school, there was like a Greek boy, a Vietnamese boy. So they all had their names.
Yeah.
So I think in a weird way, I kind of survived. But today, like, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
I think there's something like we're all like, you know, it's all like not girl power, but it's like this thing where it's like, you know, embrace your like uniqueness. And I don't think we used to say that back then. It was kind of like if you didn't fit in, you were probably teased or you just grew thicker skin and then, you know, got through life.
Yeah. So do you think that growing up, do you think that like shaped who you are, how you operated in your world then and how you even like operate now?
Yeah. I mean, I think when you're a kid, you don't really know a lot. All you know is kind of what's in front of you, right? You don't have hindsight. So as an adult, like you have hindsight and you go, right. And I think for me, like if I look back to maybe just even like what I ate at school, like my lunchbox.
Yep.
It was very different to the white kids, let's say. There was no peanut butter sandwich, Vegemite. So we have Vegemite. I don't know if you've ever tasted it. I did. It was like grilled eggplant with, and you know, and I used to kind of feel embarrassed, you know. Today I'd live for that, you know. Shout out to mums out there who like do great things. And my mum, she's amazing. Like she would make the most amazing lunches, but then I would then try and Western it a little bit more just to fit in. But I think it definitely defined me in the sense that I grew, fortunately, to feel a lot more proud because I think I had so many things at that point against me that I chose to like rise above it and almost feel like I should represent.
Yeah.
And I feel like you go either way. You either go, I'm going to just sit quietly and pretend to be invisible and fade away, or I'm actually going to like go, you know what? I don't know if I can swear on this thing.
Yeah, of course you fucking can.
Yeah, but like, fuck that. I'm charging forward. You know, I was the head of my school. I was the school captain.
You're one of those.
I was in the drama. I was like this and that. I was president of Amnesty International. I was doing it all. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think I felt this innate thing to maybe also prove something at the same time. And go, you know what? I'm not going to let this define who I am. And yeah.
It's funny that those common threads you hear, I've heard it, especially in America.
Sure.
Like Jamaican food for me, like bringing curry chicken or curry goat. Like people's like, what does that smell? What is that? The Korean kids and their kimchi, like anything that was not peanut butter and jelly or like a school lunch was always looked down upon. And yeah, there's people that will downplay their ethnicity or who they are to still fit in, and other people just like embrace the fuck out of it.
Isn't it wild that people now like would die to have a curry and like die to have like hummus and like are just so obsessed with like what we bring to the table? Like, that's the irony of it all now.
People discovered it, and now it's something that they want. So, yeah, it's funny how all that goes. But I guess you look at it, they get bored of, I guess, having the same old. You know, it's like an isolated group of people. They're having fun, and people want in on that fun.
And we kind of like, I don't know if you've ever tried Persian fairy floss. It's like now this thing that, like, you get these expensive desserts.
Yeah.
Anyway, we all, like, laugh when we, like, see people paying, like, $50 for like a dessert because it's got Persian fairy floss, but we can get it for like $1 at the like local Persian supermarket. So we also we call it like taking the piss. Like we almost feel like, yeah, you know what? Like, fuck you. You should spend $50 to eat something that costs nothing, and you think you're cultured all of a sudden,
right?
You know,
because you discovered something.
Because you discovered saffron, or you decided this. So yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah,
that's so funny. That's interesting. So, where are you now? What are you doing now in life?
What do I do now?
Yes.
So I work for a big luxury brand, luxury group, and I do all the learning and development. So for the Australia and New Zealand region.
Nice.
So that's what I do in life at the moment. I'm obviously a big traveler. So whenever there's time that I can have, whether it's like Christmas, New Year's, or Easter time, or whatever it might be, I will get on a plane and I will go somewhere I've never been. So hence, you know, I had Christmas at home, which in Australia is in the summer.
Yes.
So, which is, again, for a lot of people weird, but I love it because we're not freezing. And
right.
If you're lucky enough, like we have a pool, like you're in the pool, the days are long, it's balmy, it's beautiful. Whereas coming up to the Northern Hemisphere, everyone's freezing and it's dark at like 4:00.
Right.
But yeah, then obviously, you know, after that time I managed to get to Japan, which was amazing. And here in Seoul.
It was your first time to Japan and Seoul?
Yeah, I was going to go to Japan actually, but then COVID hit. So that didn't happen. And my first time in Seoul as well. First time in Korea. And I would definitely come back.
My sister used to live in Japan, so we had the opportunity to go there a few times. And that's how we ended up down in Australia for the first time, too.
Okay. And what did you think of Australia, by the way?
We had a great time. Everybody was super nice. I had a friend there, a friend of a friend. We met up with her. She's like, don't be offended if anybody stares at you because, like, you know, just tall, black people are just not the norm here.
Now you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Now they're not African-American.
Yeah,
they're actually African.
Africans.
But I wanted to kind of think, what was your take on the ethnic side of things? Like, did you think it would be as diverse as it was? Or did you even think it was diverse from your perspective?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like I saw a lot of, assuming like East Asian people, so like Koreans, Chinese. No, it was kind of what I expected. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd heard terrible things about it before from my aunts that had gone like the 70s and 80s, and they refused to ever go back. Yeah,
the world was very different.
It
was very different. But today, I think if you went, I don't think anyone would stare at. I mean, like, if they did, it would be in like awe
of how
like,
beautiful I am,
of how gorgeous you are. Exactly. It wouldn't be like, oh, I've never seen a dark person before.
Right.
No.
I had a blast. So we went to, was it Frankie's Pizza? I think they closed down.
Oh my God, you still remember Frankie's Pizza? They did. They closed down last year.
Yeah, I know. I was distraught because I wanted to go back.
Frankie's is nothing now. Like, there's so many other things.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, I don't know if you know, but the hometown I'm from, Melbourne, has the second highest population of Greeks outside of Athens.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Or like Maltese as well, and things like that. So it's very diverse, very mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Australia's next to Asia, so
Right.
typically you'd feel that was that. But actually, Australia's roots are very European. It's predominantly, obviously, English.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, you go your French, your Spanish, your blah, blah, blah. And now, because of the way the world is, because the visas have gotten a lot easier, so they're coming out and they're staying because they're making better money or they have free healthcare. Hello.
Don't know what that is.
Don't know what that is.
Never heard
right?
that before.
Okay, cool.
That's interesting. No, that's something that's interesting for me to know because I still think of it as like Asian population, European, white European, and pretty much that's it. And again, I was talking to somebody in Kyoto yesterday. I guess you weren't not the first interview. I talked to somebody yesterday. So sorry, I cheated on you.
And it was still January. It's still January.
It's still January. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I accidentally came second.
Yeah. Oh my God. But he was saying that because Kyoto is isolated in like around mountains, like even in Japan, it has its own culture. And I always assumed that Australia being its own continent, just on its own, like it's never going to change. It's kind of always be the same. But interesting to know about like the visa change and that like now Europeans or even Africans are starting to come in.
I mean, look, if you go to the west of Australia, so Perth, it's a lot more people from Africa, Mauritius, because it's not far, right?
Yeah.
But then on the east coast where I'm from, you'd get a lot more like Brazilian, Latinos, because again, South America's that way. It's actually, I don't know if you know this, but you can actually fly now from Australia to Europe direct, Australia, and you can fly to any continent in the world now from Australia direct. We're kind of, depending on the way you grew up with your maps, because I know maps are different, but Australia is kind of here, and America's here, South America's here, Asia's here, Africa's here, and Europe's here.
Right.
So it's actually not as isolated as what people think.
And people being Americans.
But Americans, God love you. Not many of you have passports. I've been to America a lot, by the way. I've never been to Atlanta, but shout out to Miami. Loved it.
Yes.
A lot of people have never left the country. So I think they think that I live with a kangaroo and there's a giant snake in my backyard. I've never seen a spider. I've never seen a snake. The kangaroo I saw was in the zoo.
Right.
Those things live in the middle of the country, which no one lives in.
Right.
So you'd be surprised at how developed and Western and we are.
Yeah, no,
You got to come out again.
I need to come back.
Visit me.
I would love to. No, that'd be great.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. I feel like I need to brush up on Australia a little bit more.
You do.
Especially, and I love, I'm going to Brazil for the first time this year, and then hopefully for my 40th next year. But everywhere I go, it's like Brazil is just there. Like, I feel like they are, I mean, it's a very populous country, but they must love to travel because, I mean, they are just everywhere, and I love seeing it. Yeah.
There's a huge Brazilian population in Australia. And by the way, Sydney is not just Australia. So I would encourage you to go to like Melbourne or Brisbane or wherever. Like,
so do you think your background as a Persian Australian and your work, does that give you a different worldview or perspective on how you operate? Do you think that's helped you?
I think automatically it just gives me a global view because naturally I'm fluent in Persian. I can read, write, and speak. So my parents had this real philosophy that they didn't want us to not feel connected to where we're from.
I love that.
So we would go to language school on a Saturday, which back then I dreaded, and now I'm very grateful that I went to, because it's really nice if you want to talk about somebody in another language and no one can understand you. Not that I would ever do that.
No.
But anyway, so naturally, it just gives me like a global view. And I'm really grateful for that, because I think there's a lot of people that I work with or that I know that don't have that. They're like Australian, or as I would say, they're white Australian. So they don't have another language. They don't have another culture, if that makes sense. Their culture is kind of like influenced predominantly from the UK, but then it's sort of been infiltrated by all these different countries or people, migrants, I would say, like us, where we've kind of then become the norm. And I think had that never happened, they would be so sheltered. So, but also had I never migrated and moved and embraced that, I would also be, because there's a lot of things about my culture that I don't agree with.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of things that I would say that there are views that I would say are very old. But then there's a lot of things that I've learned to embrace and understand. And I think that's with age. You know, that's with hindsight, as I said, that's with growing up. And then there's a lot of things that I've adopted. So I'm kind of like a hybrid of the East and the West, because I was born in the Middle East, but I grew up in the West.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine growing up, like there were things that I just did not get that my parents, I mean, they were very liberal. They were also Western educated, but also like there's just things that didn't click, you know? So I think it has shaped a lot of who I am. And I think it's also just allowed me to be a lot more curious about wanting to be even more global.
Yeah.
Because I think cultures and being ethnic, and I think also just to clarify, my take on the word ethnic isn't that just because you're not white. I think white is also, it's for me, it's actually, I call it a feeling. So what ethnic is a feeling. And
I think about being white is a feeling. I was dying.
but maybe being white is a feeling. Like it's a feeling of beige. It's a feeling of like, you know, it's just a feeling, right? So for me, it's a feeling, because I don't just think because I look ethnic that all of a sudden that's what I am. I mean, I am who I am. I just think being ethnic means that there's so many feelings associated with that and tied to that. And and a lot of those things are positive feelings as well. But I think, again, that has come with time, because if you rewind the clock 20 years ago, when we were very young, someone that was Middle Eastern and that looked like me was considered not a great person. And so I kind of feel in a weird way that I'm very lucky I grew up in that time, because I think we kind of had to sort of showcase that, no, we're not fanatical, crazy people, especially in the US. I mean, you can imagine, right? I don't know what it was like living there at that time, but I can imagine it wasn't great.
It was trash.
It was trash. So, I think now it's like, oh, it's a draw card. It's like people are all of a sudden into ethnic people. Like, oh, I love a man that's like dark eyes and dark or this or that. Whereas like, it's almost like it's, you know.
It's so true. There's like so many layers to that. One, I will say ethnicity is a feeling, because it does come from intangible things. Yes, your skin tone, your hair might be a part of that, but it is food, religion, things that mindset, literally.
It's like when Barbie was a thing, you know, like Barbie had to look like this and Ken looked like this, and now it's like no one cares about Ken. Yeah. People want like all the different colors of the rainbow, right?
And it's interesting. Yeah, they want the different colors, and it's still like within some safe parameters in some circles.
Yeah.
For the longest time, there was a joke going around when people would say like, oh, I love a man with dark features. And we're like, oh, great, like dark skin. And they just meant dark hair, like dark eyebrows. They still want like white skin and dark eyebrows. And now it's this, what we call racially ambiguous, which like you were saying, like people think you're Latin, they think you're Persian, they think you're like anything but who you are. And that's like now they're like taste tests into stepping out.
Do you think it's a fetish?
100%.
Do you think it's considered a fetish now? I don't think it was thought of as a fetish even 10 years ago, but I think now it's, well, maybe it's a type, right?
We say type, but I want to say fetish. I mean, I come from a place where it's fetishized a lot, or they expect a certain stereotype of a black person. I'm doing it to be like anti or against the system, or make my mom and dad mad versus like a genuine interest in like who you are.
Yeah. I think that's what makes the world great, right? Like I think how boring would it be if we were just all the one thing, or if we were like, I think also it depends when you grew up. Like we grew up in the 90s, right? So we was probably fed, I mean, there was no one on, I know growing up in Australia, there was no one on TV that was gay. There was no one on TV that was Middle Eastern. There was no one on TV that was like even dark. Everyone was like cookie cutter. Now it's like so much more like what it's wild. Like you see everything on TV now. Yeah. You see a headscarfed person. You see like trans people. You see like, and I think, wow, like kids today, I can only imagine like what they're thinking, but how cool it is for them, because they don't have to like fit in. It's just the norm, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah?
And in America, I think we obviously it's a little different because it's America. We have to be representative. But I think for me, even personally, before I started traveling a lot, I expected when I go to Japan, I'm only going to see Japanese people. When I come to Korea, when I say like I'm confused when there's Brazilians popping up in random places, I'm like, how did they get here?
To go to that point, I still feel, and I will admit this, I remember I was in Italy and my waitress was Asian and she spoke to me in a full Italian accent, and I even I was like looking at her going, what the fuck? Like, I was like, this, but it's wild because I'm Middle Eastern and I sound Australian. So it's like I'm being a hypocrite, right? But even today, I still catch myself. In America, it's fine. Like, it's almost like it's accepted that, like, you'll have different people that look different, but they sound American, right? Yeah. Or even to a degree, Australia. But, like, if you were to go to, like, Italy, France, Germany, and they look different to what you think they should look like. I mean, Italians don't all look like Mario and Luigi, right? Like, this girl she was Asian, second generation.
Wild.
But if I didn't see her, I would have thought she was Italian.
Right.
So I still feel like maybe I don't know if that's a generational thing, because I feel like kids today would be like, you know, they just identify as whatever. Then I think it's great because I think their mind is so much more open to like anything. Like you can be anything and it's, oh yeah, that's fine. It's
fine. Yeah. But when they grow up and they're just like, okay, the world is everybody at all places all the time.
Totally.
Are they going to miss having isolated cultures? Like, Jamaicans, are they going to miss only being Jamaicans? Because now, like, we were in Kyoto 10 years ago, whatever it was, and turned a corner and it ended up like this man was selling Jamaican food.
Actually, there's a restaurant around the corner from where I live that's Jamaican.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, kids that are born today in 2025.
Is it unique?
In 2050, they're like, I'm so bored because everywhere I go, there's a fucking Chinese restaurant or a Jamaican restaurant right next to each other. And, like, even as American, I hate it because I go outside and I feel like I'm still in America. Like,
there's two ways I see it. Yeah. One way I see it is what you're saying, where, like, the more connected we are through everything, yes, you're going to... I mean, we hear K-pop now. We never heard K-pop when I was a kid. So it does work the other way, in a way. But to the point of, like, say, food, because I think a lot of us identify or connect with ethnic through food, especially if you're white, let's say. So classic is pizza, Chinese, blah, blah, blah. But don't you feel, though, that it isn't as authentic until you go to the place? So although you have it, it like sushi in Australia is amazing, but we also put chicken and avocado in our sushi, right? When I was in Japan, the sushi felt different. It looked familiar, but it tasted different. So to your point, like, yes, I know what you mean. Like, we can have anything, Jamaican food. But I'm sure if I went to Kingston or Montego Bay.
No, right. She's seen a map.
I've seen a map. I don't feel like it would be the same. I think it would feel still authentic. So I think regardless of how connected we are, like from a global perspective in terms of having everything at our fingertips, I think the beauty is that traveling or going to that home country will always still add a different element. And I think that's what will hopefully, if anything, promote this generation to go and discover and not be complacent going, well, I don't need to go to China because I just have like bastardized Chinese food that's been Americanified or I don't know. Have you seen what they do to Chinese food in the UK?
No, actually I've not.
They pour curry sauce on it. And they serve it with chips, like French fries. And they
Please stop.
Yeah, well, English food is awful anyway.
Sure.
So, but that's what they do.
So for butter chicken, that's the one thing they got right.
Well, yeah, but they say that's Indian and it's not. But that's what they think Chinese food is. And actually, speaking of Ireland, I was in Ireland in, now it's 25, so 24, earlier 2024. And the food was like, it was awful, by the way. No offense to the Irish, you're great at drinking. But like their Chinese food or their ethnic food was local-fied. Like it was Irish-fied. And I was like...
I had something up there. Was it Thai food? I had the same experience.
It was awful. I was like, this isn't... I've been like Thailand. Have you been to Thailand? Like you go to Thailand, you eat Thai food. And it's not the same. So I think that's hopefully what will be the saving grace and point for like... this generation.
Because also that question just comes from a point of privilege where, I mean, we're literally sitting in a different country.
We're in Seoul. Right. Can you believe this? Have you had fried chicken yet or kimchi or bibimbap or any of that stuff? You got to get all that in.
I need to get it all in. Actually, well, because there's a really good Korean fried chicken place in New York I go to all the time. Yeah. And I now need to make the comparison. It's like, okay, is that truly Korean fried chicken or is it different here? But it's still also fried chicken that were brought over by Black people during the war.
You guys have you got those Korean... I've seen it all online, especially in the US, and it's like a sausage, and then it's battered, it's fried. It's Korean, wow. and you have it with cheese, and you've American-fined it. Anyway, I was in a Christmas market here randomly, And they had it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to try it. And
Yeah.
it was so different to
Really?
what. So I don't think the Korean fried, because we have it in Australia too,
Yeah.
and I actually had it today,
Yeah.
and it was so different.
Huh.
Like, it was different.
I'm scared because I'm like, if I.
No, it's good different.
But no, I know. But if I don't like it, and I'm like, well, the one in America.
If you don't like it, just put some ketchup on it, and you'll be fine. You know, like that'll feel familiar, right?
Yeah. A crap single on that.
And
bitch,
have it, you know, a Diet Coke, and you'll be right. You know, like no,
read me
I think
for
you'll
Phil.
love
Yeah,
it. I
yeah.
think you'll love it. Yeah,
Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I think that's most of the things. Anything that you'd want to give as words of wisdom to anyone listening, anyone specific, other Persian, Australian humans, or the next generation?
I would just say to anyone, right? You don't have to specifically be Persian, but anybody, I would just say that, look, I think there's something really nice in, I think regardless of like whether you are a person of color, because white is still a color, I think there's a privilege in being from wherever you're from, and there's something in owning it and really like understanding that you can't hide from it, because every time you look in the mirror, it's there, right? And I think, yeah, see, look at me, like Maya Angelou times two, right? But it's true. Oprah, call me.
Right.
No, but seriously, no, it's like, it's always going to be there, right? And it could be there in your name. It could be there in, I mean, like I had it there constantly, my name, the way I looked and whatever. But now it's like, to what we were saying before, now it's like, you're fine. And, you know, people want more of that. And it's a draw card. So if anything, I just think like how amazing that you got to, you know, you can't choose where you're from. You can't choose how you're born. You can't choose where, you know, what you look like. So I think the best thing to do is embrace it. And the more of that you do, the more of that you're connected to. And I think there could be something in that where you go, oh, actually, I'm really happy and proud to be wherever I'm from. And just because I might live in another country, for example, where that isn't quote unquote normal, even better, because nobody wants normal, right?
No.
So that would be my advice. And, you know, just navigate your way through that like you would with anything, and don't let it define you, let it inspire you. And, you know, I think there's nothing accidental about being ethnic, right? If anything, it's great, and it's fantastic. So yeah, that would be my thing.
Amazing. I
Cool.
love it. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
For number 2 for 2025 on the
Yeah.
3rd of January. Just saying. But no,
Yeah.
no, really cool. Thanks.
Yeah,
And I love what you're doing as well
you.
with the podcast. So
Yeah. Wow.
cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.